Well, Casey here. Last time we began this Figma to Webflow journey, and I walked you through the initial starting process of what it is that I do when I am moving from Figma to Webflow, and I've already designed out a design, and I'm going to build that out in Webflow. So we walked through that in part one. If you missed that, I definitely encourage you to check that out. Now we're in part two. I've moved over all of the styles and built out the style guide. I want to show you some of the progress that I've made over the last couple of days and just the way that I think about building a website. And hopefully that will help you as you move into Webflow and begin to utilize the power that it has. So let's hop into the computer and I'll show you some of the things that I've done over the last couple of days. All right, so now we're here in the computer, and here are some of the things that I've been able to accomplish over the last couple of days. If we go back over here, you see this is the home page, but if we go back over here to the style guide, let me just show you some of the things that I've been able to do. And yes, I do use, and I think I talked about it in the last video, I use client first. Version 2, they've updated that. The documentation is great. I would certainly encourage you, if you are not using client first, to hop on with that. It is amazing. It's been super helpful for me. But I've gone ahead and pulled in all of the different styles. I've set up the style guide. We talked about that last time. But some of the other things that I've done, as you can see here, I've begun to build out the navigation bar. And that's one of the first things that I do after I get the style guide set up. I've got all of the styles pulled in, all the colors pulled in, everything like that, ready to go. I build out the navigation bar. And then after I build out the navigation bar, if you can see here at the very bottom, I've built out the footer. So those are the first two things that I build on a website whenever I get started. And the reason that I do that is because these two things are going to show up on every single page in the website. And so after I build them, what I will do is I will actually make these components. And so you can come over here and you can see there's a number of components that I've built out. And I'll talk about those in just a moment. But the two top components that I've built out is the footer and the nav bar. And those things, again, are going to show up on every single page. And so I'm going to go ahead and build those out. The next thing I built out is this call to action. And so this call to action is going to show up on almost every single page on the website. And so I went ahead and built out the call to action. That way it's there. And what did I do again? Well, I made the call to action a component. So that way, whenever I need it, all I have to do is type in the component, Command E, and then I can type in CTA right there. Boom, I can throw that on the page wherever I need it. The other thing that I've done in keeping with this same theme and building out components is I've gone ahead and built out all of the different buttons that I'm going to need on the website that come straight from the design. And the other thing that I've done is I've made each of these buttons, you guessed it, a component. That way I can easily reuse them, but also if I need to change them or change the link or anything like that, it's going to be there as soon as I stick it on the website. And so those are the top things that I've done. Then I've gone over, after I get all of those things built out there, and I begin to build out the home page. And so this is usually the first page that I'm going to build out on the website is the home page. It houses a lot of the different sections that are going to connect to the other pages on the website, as well as typically there are some things that will be reusable on the home page for other pages so that I can turn those into components or either begin to build out sections in such a way that I can reuse those sections. And that's exactly what I have done on this particular build. And so this section right here, as you can notice, I've labeled it 2-column layout component. Now I've gone ahead and named this section here based on the page that it's on and what the section is really about. It's really sticking with the client first system. You could keep that a more of a generic 2-column name if you really want to, but I prefer to do it that way, to go ahead and change the name of the section so that I understand where each of these sections are at on the page, as well as whenever my client comes in, they would have an understanding of what those sections are as well. But I will reuse different sections in or different components throughout the website. And so that's exactly what I've done here. I've built this 2-column layout, which is going to be pretty much a standard layout throughout the entire website. I've utilized the naming structures, and then I've taken this 2-column layout and I've reused it on many of the different pages. And so if we go over here, this again right here is the 2-column layout. This right here is even a form of the 2-column layout. I'm reusing that particular component, but inside that component I've set up 2 separate deals here. That's because this is going to be a bit different. It doesn't have an image on the right and a header and text and things like that on the left, but this particular setup is going to show up in the portfolio pages that I'm going to be building out soon. And if you notice here, I've taken the opportunity where I could to create components again. So this particular section is going to show up on the Contact Us page. And so I made that a component in case any of these numbers get changed in the future. They will also get changed on the Contact Us page. And so that's the power of components. The other thing that I've utilized for components is this services section. I've made it into a component because I'm going to reuse this section over and over again. So this is the About page. I have this same component on the home page, but I also have that component at the bottom of each of the service pages. It's set up a little bit different. We're looking for something else, but in all of these different ideas here or different services that my client is offering, but I'm really utilizing the power of components here to be able to change the name here, as well as to be able to selectively hide each of these different items. And so that's one of the more powerful aspects of components. We're not going to dive into exactly how all of that stuff works in this particular video, but I just want to give you a flavor and a taste of how powerful components can be. You can literally change the text. You can selectively hide different aspects of that component depending on which page you are on. And so if we head over here, just for example, to the talent management page, you would notice that on the social media marketing page, talent management is visible, as well as influencer marketing and brand partnerships, but social media marketing is not. I've selectively hidden that, utilizing the power of components in this particular page, so that it makes it really easy for me to reuse this particular section without having to try to copy and paste that section to another page and take this piece out. And then what happens in the future if my client wants to change some of the wording here? Well, he's going to have to go to all of the different pages and change that. But if you use components, you don't have to do that. So I guess really the idea behind this video, and when I begin to start building out the web page, is I'm building out the home page, and then I'm looking to see, okay, what sections can I reuse, what class names can I reuse throughout my build, as well as what sections can I turn into components so that I don't have to rebuild that section or copy and paste it and then go back through each page whenever I need to make a change on some text in order just to update some things. And so that's what I would encourage you to do. Build out the home page, build out the components, see which sections you can reuse, see which sections you can turn into components, and how you might be able to utilize the power of components throughout your website. The other thing I want to show you here is just the loading animation that I made for this particular site. I went ahead and did this. I usually don't make my animations until the end, but this was a special one that's going to go just for the home page, and so I went ahead and built that out so that it was ready to go. So hopefully that helps you as you begin to look at my process and how I build out websites. Really, the idea in this video: try to reuse sections as often as possible, class names as often as possible, particularly layouts like a 2-column grid, but also reuse sections by harnessing the power of components, so that if you have to rename or if you have to update text, you are able to do that easily, and it's going to update and populate across every single page on the website. As well as you're able to selectively hide some items and even change the text without changing text on other pages. And so go and learn a little bit more about the power of components and how they work, and begin using them in your next Webflow build to really speed things up. Well, I look forward to seeing you in part 3 as we continue to talk about building out the website, and then we'll look at maybe building out the CMS next, and all of the different aspects of how to do that, and provide you with some tips and tricks that I use to make that build go much faster. See you next time.